Prithvinarayan Shah was born in Gorkha, a kingdom in the hills. This was in the year 1779 BS or 1723 AD. When he was just 20 years old, he became the king of Gorkha. That was in 1799 BS or 1742 AD. Back then, Gorkha was a small kingdom, not very powerful compared to others. The land we now call Nepal was like a puzzle made of many tiny states that often fought with each other. These states were grouped into two main areas: the base Rajya, which means 22 kingdoms in the west, and the Chaubisi Rajya, which means 24 kingdoms even further west. The rich Kathmandu Valley was also split up. 3 Mala kings ruled different parts of it. Because the land was so divided, it was easy for fights to start from inside and for outsiders to cause trouble. Prithvinarayan Shah saw this very clearly, even when he was a young ruler. What he saw and learned early in his life made him dream of a bigger kingdom, all joined together. When he was a young prince, he visited Badgaon, one of the Mala kingdoms in the Kathmandu Valley. He also went to Kashi, which is now called Varanasi in India. On these trips, he saw bigger, stronger states and fancy courts. He learned how they ran their governments, how their armies worked, and how they made money. What he saw made him want something more. He knew that only a strong Nepal, all joined together, could stay safe and rule itself. He dreamed of a kingdom that wasn't just a bunch of lands put together, but a strong country that could take care of itself. Prithvinarayan Shah didn't just want more land. He often called his dream kingdom Asal Hindustan, which means the real land of Hindus. This showed he wanted to make a safe place, a pure and free Hindu kingdom in the Himalayan mountains. He saw that the British East India Company in India was getting more and more powerful, and he thought this was a big danger. So, joining all the small kingdoms together was very important for him. It was a way to protect the special culture, old ways and freedom of the hill kingdoms from outsiders who might try to take over. His dream was to build a powerful country that could protect itself. When he became king, Prithvinarayan Shah started getting ready for this big plan right away. He knew Gorkha's small army wasn't big enough for such a huge job. So he worked hard to make his army stronger. He got new soldiers and taught them new ways to fight. He tried to get better weapons for his soldiers. At the same time, he started making friends with nearby kingdoms when he could. He also spent a lot of effort finding out the good and bad points of the kingdoms he wanted to bring together. He did things step by step and was patient. He built a strong base before he started his big moves. The first big place Prithvinarayan Shah wanted to capture was the fort of Nuwakot. Nuwakot was very important. It was on a main road where people traded goods between Tibet, the Kathmandu Valley and India. If Gorkha controlled Nuwakot, it would get a lot of money from trade. Even more important, Nuwakot was like a main door to the Kathmandu Valley, which was the biggest prize he wanted. Soon after he became king in 1799 BS, Prithvinarayan Shah attacked Nuwakot. But this first attack was planned too quickly and not done well. The Gorkhali soldiers lost. This was a tough lesson for the young king. It taught him that he needed to plan very carefully and have a strong army. But he didn't give up. Prithvinarayan Shah spent the next few years making his army better. He asked for help with his army and got new weapons. He made their training and fighting plans better. Then in 1801 BS or 1744 AD, the Gorkhali soldiers attacked Nuwakot again. This time they were ready and they won. Winning Nuwakot was a very big victory. It was the real start of Prithvinarayan Shah's plan to join all the kingdoms. Nuwakot became an important base for the Gorkhali army to work from. It made his soldiers feel good and showed the other kingdoms that he was serious. Nuwakot was super important for controlling trade and getting into the valley. After winning Nuwakot, Prithvinarayan Shah looked towards the many Base and Chaubisi kingdoms. These small kingdoms were west of Gorkha. They often fought among themselves, but sometimes they would join together to fight off anyone trying to attack them. The Gorkhali fights in these areas took a long time and were very hard. Prithvinarayan Shah used different plans. He talked with some kingdoms to get them on his side or to make them argue with each other. he used his army against the kingdoms that fought back. Taking control of these western lands was important to protect Gorkha's sides before he focused all his energy on the Kathmandu Valley. The fights against the Bays and Chobisi states were full of problems. The land was rough and hilly, which made it hard for the army to move and get supplies. The local kings knew their lands well and fought back hard. The Gorkhali army had to fight many battles and surround many towns. Prithvinarayan Shah's own leadership and his ability to keep going were very important during these long fights. He showed he could change his plans when things changed. Because he kept trying even when things were tough, he slowly won over or made friends with many of these western kingdoms. This made Gorkha much stronger over the years. Once Gorkha's western side was mostly safe, Prithvinarayan Shah put all his attention on the Kathmandu Valley. The valley was the most important place for politics, money and culture in the area. It was famous for its good farming land, talented workers and busy trade. But the valley was split up. 3 Malla kings ruled different parts. Jaya Prakash Malla was the king of Kathmandu, also called Kantipur. Tej Narsingh Malla was the king of Patan, or Lalitpur, and Ranjit Malla was the king of Bhadgaon, now called Bhaktapur. These Malla kings often argued over small things and fought with each other. Because they didn't work together, it gave the Gorkhali king a big advantage. He was ready to use their weaknesses. Prithvinarayan Shah had a smart and patient plan to take over the valley. At first, instead of attacking the main cities with a big army, he decided to block their economy. His soldiers took control of the important hills and paths around the Kathmandu Valley. This stopped the valley from trading with Tibet in the north and India in the south. Important things like salt, cotton, metals and even food couldn't get in easily. This block lasted for many years. Slowly, it hurt the Malla kingdom's money and made their people unhappy. This made it harder for them to fight back. One of the hardest fights in the valley was for Kirtipur. Kirtipur was a strong town on a hill near Kathmandu city. It fought very hard against the Gorkhali army. The Gorkhali army attacked Kirtipur many times, but lost many soldiers in the first tries because the defenders were so strong. The people of Kirtipur were known for being very brave. After a long time of surrounding the town and hard fighting, Kirtipur was finally taken by the Gorkhali soldiers. This was in 1822 BS or 1765 AD. When Kirtipur fell, it was a big shock to the Malla kingdoms. It was a big step for the Gorkhalis to win the whole valley. After taking Kirtipur, it was easier to get to the Malla capital cities. In 1825 BS or 1768 AD, Prithvinarayan Shah made a surprise attack on Kathmandu. The Gorkhali soldiers went into the city when everyone was celebrating the Indra Jatra festival. King Jaya Prakash Malla ran away in confusion. Soon after that, Patan also fell to the Gorkhalis. They didn't fight much because their leaders decided to give up. The last Malla kingdom to fall was Bhadgaon. This happened in 1826 BS or 1769 AD. King Ranjit Malla, who used to be a friend and like a father to Prithvinarayan Shah, gave up. This was when the Kathmandu Valley was completely taken over and joined together under Gorkhali rule. Prithvinarayan Shah was successful because of his smart army plans and good leadership. He carefully made the Gorkha army modern. He got soldiers from different groups of people. This made them loyal to Gorkha, not just their own group. He gave his soldiers new guns from India as well as old weapons like the kukuri. He knew how important it was to fight well in the mountains. So, he trained his soldiers in surprise attacks, which worked very well in the hills of Nepal. He was also very good at talking with others to make his enemies alone. And he gathered information to find out their weak spots before he attacked. His leadership skills were amazing and very important in joining the kingdom. Prithvinarayan Shah was a leader people liked and wanted to follow. His soldiers and commanders were very loyal to him. He often led his soldiers from the front, sharing their problems and dangers. This made the Gorkhali army feel strong and brave. His dream of a Nepal that was joined together, strong and free, was a big reason why he and his followers kept fighting for years and got through many problems. He never gave up, even when things were hard, like when he first lost at Nuwakot or during tough fights. It was really amazing. Near the end of his life, Prithvinarayan Shah gave very important advice for the future of the new kingdom. This advice is famously called the Divyopadesh, or Divine Counsel. In these teachings, he explained his ideas for how to rule, how to deal with other countries, how to grow the economy, and how to keep the country united. He said it was important for the country to depend on itself and protect its own businesses. He warned about the British East India Company getting too strong and said Nepal should keep its distance and not take sides. The Divyopadesh became a very important guide for how Nepal should be run. People still study it today to learn about keeping the country whole and free. The work Prithvinarayan Shah did to join the kingdoms had a big and long-lasting effect on Nepal's future. Many people see him as the person who started modern Nepal. His fights brought many different small kingdoms together into one big kingdom with one main government. This joining together was very important because it stopped outsiders, especially the British, from taking over the area. The British were spreading their power in India at that time. Because Nepal was one country, it was able to stay free. His rule also started the Shah family of kings, who ruled Nepal for more than 200 years, and it helped start the idea of what it means to be Nepali.